Peter and Tom, in just a few moments, we're going to be speaking with CBC producer Antonia Reed about sleeping aids. So melatonin gummies, teas, things that help you fall asleep. And I'm curious, being that sleep matters a lot to all three of us, especially with a job like this. And we have been talking about sleep quite a bit. There was a study or a conversation I had with Dr. Peter Lynn, I think last week, about the need to get more sleep and how that can benefit your overall health. But I'm curious, do you guys have any sleeping rituals? Peter, when you go to sleep, is there anything that you need to do before you shut off for the day?
I try to be low key about these things. I don't have any sleeping aids. I would never take something to fall asleep, except I guess when I'm sick. Sometimes I like to have a Neocitrin or something like that. That knocks me right out. But under normal circumstances, just take me like I am, sleep. I'm ready for you.
No, but do you have to have a warm glass of milk before you go to sleep? No, you just put the PJs on and
I just eventually plug the phone in and turn off the light.
That's it. Tom, what about you? You strike me as someone that has a sleeping cap and all that.
A gown and a cap and the whole bit. Yeah, I blow the candle out before I
was going to say, you strike me as a guy in pews that has a candle and your wife's like, what are you doing?
No, I think I'm more like a dog in that I have to roll around 3 or 4 times in the bed and throw the covers off and pull them back on, and then I'm ready for sleep.
Yeah. There's no
no warm milk.
Yeah.
No run around the block, anything like that.
I think for me, I am guilty of the screen time before sleep, and I'm trying to reduce that. Yeah, I think
it's hard though.
It's a habit, especially when you're plugging the phone in and you're about to go to sleep. You may want to scroll, especially with a job like ours. You don't know if something's maybe breaking that you want to talk about on the show the day after, but I am trying to read more, and I find that it does kind of get me in a nice zone before going to sleep.
That's a good point. If I read about a half a chapter, boom, that'll put me right out.
Yeah.
I did forget. I regularly now watch Jeopardy right before I go to sleep.
Oh, do you
record that every night and watch it right before I go to sleep?
Isn't that overstimulating though? You're
no, I feel smug when I go to bed about how many I got right.
I feel like the Peter Duck Jeopardy run is going to happen one of these days.
I got to remember to try out again.
Do you ever sleep with the TV on?
Not on.
Yeah.
It goes off. I used to when I was younger, sleep with music or radio on.
I used to, yeah.
My wife's annoyed by that, so I quit.
I don't know if I shared the story on the air, but I had my wife and my 2 kids were away, and I had the house to myself, and we had the baby in the same room as us, so we used to sleep with white noise because it helps the baby go to sleep. Mm-hmm. And when I was on my own, it just felt weird, so I put some white noise on, and it knocked me out. So I think me and my son have something in common. White noise works wonder. If you have any natural sleeping aids or any sleeping rituals, you can text us at 519-984-2051. That is our text line. You can also text us news, tips, weather updates, and any other important traffic information. You are listening to Windsor Morning here on CBC Radio 1. There is no shortage of products on the market to help you sleep, from melatonin gummies to relaxing teas, and people desperate for a little shut-eye are eager to try them. The CBC's Antonia Reed has been looking into natural sleep products, and she joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what are we talking about when it comes to sleep products?
So there's just about anything out there that, helps you or claims to help you sleep. And the idea for this story really came to me when I saw that a major cereal brand in the US was marketing cereal that you eat at bedtime. And of course, I was completely skeptical about this ploy to get you to eat more cereal. But it also got me wondering what else is out there and what actually works and what it does to you. So while I didn't find any sleep cereal here in Canada, I did find a lot of other things. The main thing that you probably heard of is melatonin, right? That is a hormone that we produce naturally. It's associated with regulating our sleep patterns. Comes in pills and gummies. You can get them at any pharmacy, but it's more than just that. We're talking infused water, teas, like good old chamomile or ones with valerian, and other plant or mushroom-based powders that claim to make you feel more relaxed and calm.
And Antonia, do they do that?
Well, so they don't have to prove their effectiveness in the same way that a drug does. Most of them fall under the category of NHP, or natural health products. And a food lawyer that I spoke to described them as folk remedies. They make claims about their effects on your diet or energy, and they have to be supported by some kind of research to be approved by Health Canada. But we know, even from our own CBC Marketplace investigations, that it's not the same rigorous standards to which we would hold food or drugs. So really, it's hard to say if they actually work.
So that aside, how big is the market for these kinds of things?
So the food trend expert that I reached out to called it a growth area because so many people out there have trouble sleeping. She said that the drink category is really the one to watch right now. Water and soda that may not be able to make a claim about whether it makes you sleep, but it might have the word dream in the brand name or say something is soothing. So this is Dana McCauley, Chief Experience Officer at the Canadian Food Innovation Network, a federally funded industry group. And she says with more people watching their alcohol intake, these beverages could be a replacement for a nightcap.
So much about everything to do with what we eat and drink has to do with ritual and cues that are not based on molecular actions in your body. There's a lot of psychological stuff. And so that whole ritual of winding down in the evening, I think, is fairly ingrained in us.
Yeah, so she reminded me that this is not a new idea. Remember Ovaltine, that brown stuff that you would mix with water and have as a hot drink before bedtime? And experts that I spoke to said placebo is a very powerful thing.
That's very interesting. So why are these products attractive to people given the uncertainty and sometimes about whether or not they actually work?
Well, because sleep, if you can't sleep, you'll just try just about anything you can to get that sleep. One of the people that I talked to is Christine Odin-Lamy, and she said that the night before she talked to me, she hadn't been able to get to bed until 4 a.m, and she had to be up really early the next day. And she said, I'm just functioning thanks to a strong cup of coffee. And when she really needs to sleep, she'll sometimes turn to natural products, but also over-the-counter sedatives.
I would take melatonin, or if I feel like I really need to go to sleep right away, I'll take ZQL. And sometimes, it's good to, have like a cup of chamomile tea.
Yeah, so you can hear there that she just throws everything at it that she can, including an antihistamine that she gets from the drugstore. And I should say that she's not just depending on these substances. She tries relaxation, unplugging from her phone, a white noise machine. A big problem for her is that anxiety around having to go to sleep, and she's really worried about the daylight savings time that's coming up.
Yeah, I just told our audience how much I love my white
Yes.
noise machine. Things like melatonin or chamomile and other herbs, do you find that they work?
So for herbs like chamomile and other natural supplements, the science isn't really there. But melatonin can be effective for things like jet lag. So to find out more about this, I asked our CBC science columnist, Tora Couture, who also happens to have trouble sleeping. So she did a little experiment on herself. She took a melatonin gummy and it seemed to work. And then she tried another one and things got a little weird. Here's how she tells it.
I would wake up at like 5 a.m, just bouncing off the walls. And then I also would find that I would have wicked nightmares, like really vivid night terror things. So I stopped taking it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, and now she's not saying that melatonin is going to cause night terrors in everyone, but it is something that it does work, but maybe not in the way that you expect it to. And Tora explained to me that with melatonin, our body actually produces it naturally. So the vast majority of us have plenty of it already. Better to try things like better sleep hygiene, not looking at your screen before bedtime, and not eating past 8 p.m. because light and food are two signs to our body that the day is about to start.
I think Tom and I are curious as to what kind of gummy she had. What do sleep experts think of these products?
Okay, so here's the kicker. I reached out to Dr. Chris Winter. He's a neurologist and a sleep expert who's written several books about sleep. And the first thing he said to me was, do you really want to talk to me about this? Because I'm pretty adamantly against sleep aids of any kind. And I said, of course I want to talk to you now. Basically, he sees these as a crutch. He says everyone has the ability to fall asleep. We just need to be comfortable with the idea that we might not fall asleep as soon as our head hits the pillow.
By God, if you get in bed at 11 o'clock and you're still awake at 11:30, people feel like, I've got to do something. Something's wrong here. No, nothing's wrong. Our sleep ebbs and flows, and that's okay. So somebody who's saying, look, I hear what he's saying, but I've got to take pill X to sleep. No, you don't.
Yeah, and now he's not saying they don't work, and he's not saying they're harmful. He's just saying that they're not fixing the underlying issue. Insomnia, he says, is really that anxiety about not being able to fall asleep. And what he recommends is if you can't sleep, just read a book. It seems like really simple advice, but don't think about falling asleep. And if morning comes and you're still awake, start your day and try again tomorrow. I thought that sounded a bit harsh, but he's saying nobody's going to die from sleep deprivation, because that's the other key point that he had is you got to stick to that routine. Get up and go to bed at the same time every day, even after the time change. Switch to the new time and stick with it. And going to bed, he says, remember this, it doesn't always mean you're going to sleep.
Antonia, are you getting good sleep?
I am. I'm one of those annoying people who will just fall asleep just like that. I could sleep anywhere.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing this information. Definitely
You're
an interesting
welcome.
topic and very relevant to our audience. That's Antonia Reed, who is a producer for CBC Radio.